What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So, in this video, we're diving into the immigration, man. Um, I'm gonna try to go over some things, what I have heard, what reports we're getting now, a new um, uh, executive order, I'm guessing it is, that Trump implemented, uh, and how that is causing some more even added chaos along with the birthright citizenship, and the argument that they're trying to make in you know to in Trump, the Trump team's trying to make in defense of what they're trying to do there. So if you like what the content we're doing here, please consider subscribing, like, share, comment, all that good stuff, and please check out my other channels. Right there, JMD Drummer, JMD Play. Subscribe, like, share on all those as well. That would be like freaking great if you did. Um, JMD Discord there if you'd like to check that out. The one-time donations or JMD Nation Patreon.com. $3 a month. Any support you give is very much appreciated. Thank you very freaking much. You're the bomb. Okay. So yes, all right. So here we are with as we know, he signed, made it an emergency declaration. We've went all over that. Cutting off the CPB, is that right? Program, cutting off, programs that were allowing legal residents from, main lands like Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, all that, cutting off, Afghanistan, from the people that we promised that we would allow come here. And that also even affected families of U.S. troops and stuff, from even coming. This is like a whole big thing there. So we know all those things. We've all talked about them. Now we have uh, and I've heard over the past few days you've had a lot of raids all across the country, and close to 500. I think of roughly, well, the first 2 days at least, roughly about 460 arrests or something, close to 500, and maybe more by now, that were made across the United States, and several. Several bands of people that were taken uh, to be sent back to, different countries or whatnot, rounded up. I even have heard there was some talk even here locally in Mississippi that there was a couple of places that word was getting around that they were ratings, and even there. This is bringing back memories for me. I mean, I can't. It was back. I want to say either the early 2010s or whatever, or whenever there was another earlier major deportation act that went on. Maybe it was during. I think it was may have even been during Obama's terms. When I remember, because at the time I lived in Canton, Mississippi. And there's a good amount of Hispanic people that live in there because we have a chicken um, factory and stuff like that, and they work that, and they work a couple other areas around, and so there was like, I knew there was, there was like housing and stuff, different areas that were, all Hispanic, and then and I remember them being targeted, ICE coming through, rounding up people there, rounding up people at jobs, rounding up kids at school and things. And I just thought it was just absolutely horrendous. And we're having the same things going on now again. And it is heartbreaking. I understand and completely have no problem with, like, specifically, like, being strategic and specific about going after known, like, felons or known people that have caused violent crimes or something like that in the country. Like if you know where they are, or can track them down, find them, and whatnot. I have no problem with that. But going after just regular, ordinary um, people here that are working, contributing to society, and are not, not that, as we just spoke in with the, about with the bishop, and what she was saying. They're here working jobs. They're, but the vast majority do not commit any kind of crimes. Um, it is, um, it is incredible that this is what we're having to deal with right now. But um, on top of that, now we have Trump doing a new executive order. Apparently, I think it may have been Thursday or something, uh, allowing ICE to now going into more sensitive areas, um, including hospitals, churches, and schools, um, because of the fear that that some are evading ICE and seeking refuge in these specific places. Okay. This is the kind of shit like we've heard about, uh, in Gaza and shit with Israel, and how they always come, saying that they're, are in the hospitals, and they were in the, the schools, they're in the, and they're bombing them, and because they're, they think they're there or whatever, or they heard that they were there, they had something there, and then we go and look and there's nothing there. It's the same type of bullshit, so like the same type of idea, just on a more like, just uh enforcement type situation, here, but it's the same sort of enactment, right? You're claiming that they're doing this and that, so that just to give you a right to go into areas that normally would not be touched. So we have here the Chicago Elementary School successfully stops ICE agents from entering the building. An elementary school in Chicago successfully prevents U.S. Immigration and Customs ICE agents from entering the building Friday morning. Following that was this that's this today's Friday. Understand that. This morning they were trying to do that. Designated to protect staffs and students. Agents arrived at Hamline elementary school around 11:15 a.m. But were kept outside while school administrators contacted the district's law department and Office of Safety and Security, according to CPS officials. The agents were denied entry and were not permitted to speak with students or staff. Fox 2032 Chicago reported teaching and learning continued without disruption for the remainder of the day. In a statement, CPS emphasized their commitment to student safety and legal protections under the City of Chicago's Welcoming City Ordinance. Under district policy, ICE agents are only allowed access to CPS facilities if they present official credentials, providing a valid reason for their visit, and producing a criminal judicial warrant signed by a federal judge. CPS also confirmed that student records are not shared with ICE unless mandated by a court order or with parental consent. CPS has been in communication with our labor partners and community organizers who have worked to inform and support our school communities, the district said in a statement. As part of their ongoing efforts to support immigration and newcomer families, CPS is working with the Office of Family and Community Engagement FACE to provide Know Your Rights training sessions and workshops. These initiatives aim to equip students and parents with information about their legal rights in the face of federal immigration enforcement actions. The incident comes with a nationwide ICE operation under Trump administration, which has led to over 460 arrests across the multiple states, including Illinois. The federal operation primarily targets undocumented immigrants with criminal records, though arrests have been reported in other communities. CPS has pledged to keep families informed and provide updates through dedicated websites, ensuring that the students and staff are aware of their rights and available resources. So that was just Chicago. Okay, but we have other reports. We have other schools that were, there's what you have now is multiple schools now that, they're in districts that are going through, through the legal, like, ramifications or whatever of what, what they can do or what they can't do, or what, um trying to figure out the best tactics and the best, you decisions, and how they go about with, this new, um uh order being sent down from Trump. So, here's a video here going, with Maryland School District, uh, and it goes a little bit deeper into the, thoughts and how they're trying to work this stuff out.
Reaction to the move, Nana.
Hey, Jim and Angie, good evening. So this new policy is actually a reversal. Back in 2011, there was a law set in place that prevented ICE agents from going into sensitive areas like school buildings and churches. Well, now with this new directive from the president, federal officers can now go into schools to conduct searches and arrests.
But we're really worried about it. I'm very worried about it.
Montgomery County officials, including Executive Mark Elridge and Council President Kate Stewart, are working to figure out what President Trump's new policy that allows immigration officers to arrest migrants in churches and schools could mean for students.
I've had conversations with our superintendent, and this has been very top of mind for him.
Montgomery County school leaders are reminding families that, quote, they do not inquire about the immigration status of our students, and they've established protocols for interactions between school staff and law enforcement agencies. Next door in Prince George's County, school leaders are standing in solidarity with families who may feel unsettled by this recent change. In a statement to Fox 5 DC, Prince George's County Public Schools says they are aware of the recent executive orders announced by President Trump, and they're carefully reviewing potential impacts on our students, families, and staff.
I think this order and the rescinding of this order specifically creates a level of uncertainty, fear, and chaos that is problematic for all of us.
Scarlett Aldebott is the Policy Advocacy Director with the ACLU in D.C. She says as this new administration begins to crack down on immigration, families need to be prepared and create a plan like having an emergency contact.
And that essentially means you will name someone to be able to pick up your kids from school if you're not able to show up. Or someone that can be called if you're not available, and for some reason, there is a raid at a school and the children have been detained.
Councilmember Stewart says the schools are also getting ready.
What Montgomery County schools are doing is preparing their principals, their school faculty, in the case of ICE showing up at the schools.
A spokesperson with the Department of Homeland Security says this action allows agents with ICE to, quote, enforce our immigration laws and catch criminal aliens, including murderers and rapists who have illegally come into our country. Criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest.
After all the talk about going after the hardcore criminals, I wonder how many hardcore criminals they're going to find in elementary school.
Now, guys, County Executive Elridge says attorneys are currently reviewing this order, and then they will work with the school district. And as for Montgomery County Public Schools, they say they have resources available to help families navigate the situation.
So yeah, you see, this is just incredible. I mean, I don't even know. It's egregious in my opinion. There's another one.
Lockdown intensifies as Trump's administration announces ICE would be able to conduct searches in schools, churches, and hospitals.
Whether kids are going to be grabbed, whether the parents are going to be grabbed, we don't know what's going to be happening. But unfortunately, parents have to have a plan B. Make sure you know your rights. At a minimum, know your rights.
Ending the decades-old policy and what the undocumented population considered safe spaces puts all of them at risk. Bridgeport has set guidelines to protect its students in case this happens, including a visitor protocol. immigration enforcement restrictions, and student privacy protections, as well as steps to follow if an ICE officer arrives on school grounds. 1. Secure the premises. 2. Meet the officer at the entrance. 3. Request officer information. Contact the superintendent's office. And lastly,
throw an ad up. Fucking ads. I mean, we're going to continuously hear.
do not physically interfere.
Yes, it's very useful. But again, it goes back to my previous statement that parents should have a plan in place.
In a statement from the interim superintendent, Dr. Royce Avery said, every student in Bridgeport, regardless of their immigration status, has the right to feel secured and supported in our schools. I became an educator to advocate for all students, and I will ensure their rights and privacy are upheld. In Bridgeport, Angelica Truno, News 12.
I mean, this is going to be something that we continuously hear for the days now to come about schools constantly being, either raided or, trying to protect the kids and whatnot, not allowing them in. And, at what point, with certain, how many schools is it going to take to deny them to get in, where you're going to start to even get backlash from either ICE or Trump or the administration itself. And, them making claims that they're being interfered with, or that, because they are preventing them from coming in, they are, hiding potential criminals, immigrant criminals. It's they've lost their fucking minds. They have truly lost their fucking minds. I'm it's beyond reason. Now going on to the birthright citizenship, you have Trump's birthright citizenship order argues children of Native Americans aren't U.S. citizens, says the Supreme Court lawyer. So what you have going on is, as a part of their defense, you have the Trump team using the argument of Ilk versus Wilkins, which is in 1884, confirms that the children of non-resident aliens lack a constitutional birthright to citizenship. In Elk, the court held that because members of Indian tribes owe immediate allegiance to their tribes, they are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are not constitutionally entitled to citizenship. Indian tribes occupy an immediate position between foreign states and U.S. states. And it goes on to say the United States' connection with the children of illegal aliens and temporary visitors is weaker than its connection with the members of the Indian tribes. In a later link and insufficient, if the latter link is insufficient for birthright citizenship, the former certainly is. That's their argument, that because of this Ilk versus Wilkins in 1884, stated that Indian tribes were not going to be entitled to citizenship because they have immediate alliance to their tribes. Okay. What they failed to bring about in this was that has already been adjudicated. In the case Elk versus Wilkins, that did happen, but a later congressional act granted citizenship to Native Americans. Right here, the Indian Certification Act of 1924, which granted U.S. citizenship to all Native Americans born within the United States, was signed into law by President Calvin Coolidge. It was enacted partially in recognition of the estimated 12,000 Native Americans who served in the U.S. Armed Forces during the World War I, and the tens of thousands of Native Americans who supported the war at home by working in war industries, purchasing war bonds, and assisting in war relief efforts. So this has already been worked out. years later after that, Native Americans have citizenship. So you can't argue the 14th Amendment allowing undocumented immigrants having children and not receiving citizenship. You can't argue that. It's null. This is the incompetence. This is the incompetence of their arguments. How brainless they are. They've been scouring all these old cases and old things to try to, come up with all these different rules and all these different things that they can try to enact in order to make this happen, make that happen. But apparently they aren't doing a good enough job. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We also had I had it pulled up a minute ago, but I guess somehow I lost it or I removed it. But we had we've already had Mexico deny an airplane of deportees to Mexico. There were apparently 3 planes that left out, 2 going to Guatemala and 1 that was supposed to be going to Mexico, and we cannot legally transport immigrants out of the country without the approval of the receiving country. Okay, clearly, I guess Guatemala accepted with their 2 planes that went back, but Mexico denied. At least temporarily, they denied the plane. I think that was today. Now, Sheinbaum is putting up a fight at Trump for sure. So I don't. It's the stability between United States and Mexico right now is really on edge. With this whole thing. So there's no telling what we're going to see or hear in the coming days with all of this. And it's just going to get worse. Like I said, you're going to constantly hear more and more stories from people being raided here, businesses being raided there, churches being raided, hospitals. When they get into hospitals? Are you kidding me? Are churches really gonna? Schools? Y'all just don't realize, and I'm speaking y'all as in the ones who voted for Trump. You just not realize the wide ass fucking door you just kicked in. You wanted it. You thought you wanted it. But I don't think you completely thought through the ramifications or just how far they may actually go. To so-called do what you wanted. Because ultimately, they're going to blame you. They're going to say that this is what you asked for. And they're giving it to you. You better be ready to accept it. Or finally find your morality and call out against it. I'm just saying. Matter of fact, they even, ICE even arrested a U.S. Army veteran. There was reported, I think today, that they arrested an Army veteran that they suspected, I guess, was an undocumented immigrant or illegal immigrant. Even claiming that he even had his papers on him, and they claimed that they were fake. And they arrested him. And then a judge or something in that area or whatever, however they went from there, had to then, correct it. It's just, you're going to see more and more incompetence in this whole act. People are going to be wrongfully arrested. They're going to be wrongfully detained. They're going to be wrongfully deported or attempted to. Hope you're ready to take what you asked for. Let me know what you think about all of this. And how bad you think it's going to get. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for joining me. Peace. Clear Talk. Fuck Trump.